grinding, so I'm celebrating more life. While you outside, still trying to pass the door guy.
I'm Dajuan Pulliam, your host on Kalos Kocktail Hour. Based in Costa Mesa, California, Blue Sea Advertising Company is built on bold. For 2 decades, Blue Sea has spearheaded the growth and market share of all sizes in various industries, including, but not limited to, Monster Energy, Irvine Company, Wahoos, Antis Roofing, Acura, Toyota, Coco Cola, and many more. Whether if Blue Sea is helping companies grow market share for B2B and B2C relationships through marketing, branding, advertising, or providing philanthropic work in their community, Blue Sea will always see the way. The co-founder and CEO of Blue Sea, spearheading the company, is no other than Eric Morley. Eric Morley, thank you for coming today.
Hey, well, thanks for the invite. Really special to be here, so definitely appreciate it.
Most definitely, and I think this is going to be a good one because it's...
Cheers.
Oh, yeah, cheers to the Cape Cod, you know. Kalos, of course. So today, this is a great interview for me because just for the fact how I was introduced to you, and that's been about, 2 years ago now?
Yeah, I think it was going on 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, and the way we're introduced...
So if you really put it in perspective, that was kind of during the midst of the pandemic.
Yes, it was.
And we actually had a face-to-face meeting too.
Yes, it was. Yeah, you're still hard charging it.
Trying to, yeah.
Still get it in, and that's great. And I was kind of in the beginning, like right toward the beginning of starting Kalos, and you gave me a lot of great insight, during that interview. I don't know if you remember, exactly what you told me, but it was a lot of great things that you were mentioning, you were bringing up, and from your previous and past experiences in the spirits industry to what you do now. So I am very thankful for that.
Not a problem. And, appreciate you listening to all my stories, and I think our greatest experience is that the early days of Blue Sea is that we had the great opportunity to work on Absolut Vodka, and learned a lot through that whole process. And that was obviously 2 decades past, but I was hoping to be able to share some of their pitfalls, their successes to help your vodka, go right to the top.
I appreciate that. We will most definitely get into that for sure. So with that, you have created a very well advertising, company, and not just advertising. You guys do marketing, branding, and different things. But we're going to take it back from the beginning.
Sure.
I know a lot of people or a lot of platforms don't really do this, but they kind of just get into just the business or just the company. But sometimes they never get into the founders of the companies and kind of the mindset it took and how they started to get to where they are. And my whole thing, especially about Kalos Kocktail Hour, it's about speaking to founders and CEOs, but also understanding, the mindset it took to get to where you are today. And my thing is, where are you from, and did you always have this type of, place of service or place of, because owning an advertising company, it's service based,
Sure.
So based on where you come from, and you can discuss that, how did you start this?
So I was born and raised in Orange County.
Okay.
Born in Garden Grove, California, Garden Grove Hospital. Lived in La Mirada, very close to Knott's Berry Farm for the early part of my life, then moved to Fountain Valley when I was 5. My mother was in direct mail. She did direct mail for automotive dealers. My father was in printing. He worked at a newspaper. He actually worked in a series of newspapers. And so I kind of grew up with that.
Okay.
And it was very, very much in my blood, is the idea of the convergence of building a brand, simplifying the message, understanding the message, and then taking that message through the marketing is, and that's always a misconception, is like, what is the real difference between branding and marketing? Branding is the ethos of what your company is. The marketing is taking that message out to the streets and getting people to buy. And so I learned that at an early age, and the thing is that I truly believed in the platform of branding, and I believed in the platform of marketing. And there came to a point in my life where I had to commit. I had to commit to what I'm going to do in my life. And basically what it was is that I had a bunch of opportunities, all different things. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go into branding, advertising, and marketing. That's what it was. Put my head down, and the rest is history.
Awesome. And that's kind of kill my thunder a little bit because that was a question I was going to ask you.
Sure.
Was branding and marketing.
Yeah.
Is one more important than the other? And and what would you put first?
Yeah.
Out of branding and marketing.
And you know what? That's always a good question because there's been several great people, great writers that write on the topic, which is more important, branding or marketing. Is we have a process, a continuum process at Blue Sea. It's called brand power. And I think when you came into our office, we talked about it. Is the first step is you got to know your brand. You have to know what you stand for. You have to really know who you're marketing towards. You need to have your mission, your pillars, your tonality, what your visual direction is going to look like, and then you can take it to the marketing. You can't do marketing without knowing what your brand is. You can, but you're going to waste a lot of money, and most importantly, you're going to waste a lot of time.
Okay.
And so we always talk about the first step is brand power clarity. Getting the house in order, I always call it, is once we get the house in order, then we can start moving forward. Some companies come to us and they have complete brand clarity. Okay, great, we can go to the next step, which is what is our marketing plan? And then we go into what that creative campaign is going to look like. And then we go into how that's going to be distributed, media buying, digital, etc. And then the last part of it is the content development, how that content is going to flow, what content is going to be developed, what is the process, what is the content marketing strategy, and how we get people from moving from here to here. So
got it. So I wrote a couple because I looked into the brand power, and with the brand power, it's basically a framework, an innovative process on what you discussed. And you have different layers to that. You have brand power, clarity, infuse, integrate, and engage. Based off
I love it. You did your homework. That's great.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe it's awesome because you actually break it down and it gives you a kind of a foresight on if you're a new brand coming in,
Sure.
where should I start? And based on these, so you would say these are processes, or you would say these are what are these? Explain these.
So it's basically a template for success.
Okay.
If I'm a huge fond believer is that life is a series of templates. Is that you pick a template that has been proven successful and you replicate it and you utilize that as moving forward on it. Is you don't have to recreate things anymore, but you have to recreate the visual of it, the messaging of it. That's where the stages is on it. So ultimately what it is, it's a framework.
Okay.
It's a framework for success. And that's why we call it brand power is every single company that we've gone through this process has been highly successful.
Okay.
And it's been successful based upon the outcome of this system. And so brand power has definitely changed companies. It's helped companies move forward faster. And it's also, at the end of the day, they've got really good, strong clarity.
Awesome. So would you say, if you're like a new brand coming in, would you say that brand would start at the engaged level and work their way up to a clarity, or
no? Clarity is always the first.
Clarity is always the first.
Right.
Okay, so it's clarity, and then you work your way.
Exactly.
up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And what? So if a brand come in with clarity already, and they understand their market, their target audience, they understand who they're pitching to, would you still start them there, or would you?
So what we do is, no, we don't. Well,
Okay.
They've already got that. They've got that framework together. And then what we do is we go right into engaged. What is our marketing plan?
Okay.
What is that process? What is that next step on it? And then from that marketing plan, now we've established what it's going to be. Now we're going to go into what that creative is going to be, how we're going to communicate, and so forth.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Because I mean, based on the names I know we introduced you on, I mean, Monster, Monster Energy, and these are big companies.
Yeah.
It could be very intimidating to a smaller company coming in, right? It's like, oh man, their price points must be out of this world, dealing with companies like that. But I know you work with various different sizes and scales of company. If a new company was coming in, just say they have a big budget, or just say if they didn't have maybe the resources that another big company may have, what would you recommend them to do before coming to potentially a company like you, or would you recommend them coming to a company first?
It's really interesting because during the pandemic, when everything pretty much shut down, is we were working with a lot of companies on just clarifying their message. Clarifying their message. Because if I'm really good with a message and it's very clear and crisp and it connects with you, you're going to want to know more. So we go through the brand clarity process on it, and we create what this whole thing is. A company has to do this anyhow. You know, same as with your vodka. When we first met, is we really spoke about what it is, what that message is, who you're really targeting, the tonality, and that's the first step. If a company just goes through and says, hey, we're just going to jump into marketing on it, then what you're going to do is you're going to be competing on price versus brand.
For sure.
And so you always want to focus on competing as a brand than just competing on a commodity.
Most definitely. No, you're 100% right, and that's a lot. I run into a lot of different retailers run into that with regards to, you know, price is important, but if you're offering something that a retailer or a distributor or someone can't get outside of a price, they may be willing to pay that price, you know, because they're getting, you know, X, Y, and Z out of the deal. So a lot of new brands coming in, they automatically think, okay, oh, this is too high. This costs, I'm charging more than, you know, the average, just say bottle that's on the shelf. Well, but what else are you providing outside of those other brands?
Right.
And I think that's a big thing. And like you were saying, understanding that why or clarity on what you're doing, I think is important, because you wouldn't be able to ask that or answer that question if you didn't have clarity or you didn't understand what was your whole purpose of your brand from the gate. So I think that's very important. And with that, going into, if we keep going into this, you know, marketing and branding and advertising, what would you say is the first most important thing as far as marketing, advertising, branding, and really, you know, marketing? Which one would you say is the first thing you should do first?
You know, see, I think it's clarity really ties into the development of the brand and the branding. Very, very, very important. It's and then what you're going to do is you're going to go into your marketing planning. And then you're going to go into the execution on it. You know, how are you going to take that plan to the marketplace? Is we work with several different companies in all various different sizes. And so different ones have different ways of communicating. But you have to be most relevant to that audience you're trying to talk to.
Most definitely.
And you can't be all things to all people, especially nowadays. But you have to be really, really professional and concise about your message. And then also your marketing too is, it depends. And it's also the thing is like how you're going to deliver that message. Nowadays is that, you know, it used to be is like, hey, you had 5 different mediums. Now you've got 25 million mediums that you can pick and choose from. And in those mediums, you've got medias that are going to be like over and above on it.
Most definitely.
And so, you know, it's like we have a lot of success with, you know, how to place a Super Bowl commercial very, very targeted to an area for under $30,000. You know, especially as we're coming into, you know, the Super Bowl and so forth, is important to think is that, okay, how do you do something like that? We're a real fond believer in connected TV. You know, connected TV is a great audience because these are the people that are cutting the cords. Okay, that's our media execution, but what is that media that's going to be involved in it?
And connected TV, what is connected TV?
Connected TV is basically is that do you own a smart TV?
Yes.
So smart TV is you're going to see all the apps when you actually go into the bottom of it, and you can actually download those apps on it, and those are channels embedded into that TV. And so, you know, the thing about it is like cable or connected.
Okay.
Or is, you know, you got that cable that's going into the TV, so you're getting all those cable stations. You pay for that. So connected TV is a direct through the internet on it. And so I like it because the best part is I can target specifically who the target audience is exactly by their likes and dislikes. If I want pizza lovers that are into sports, I can target those only into that from subsections of those channels.
Awesome.
I can't do that on regular TV.
No, not at all.
Not at all. But you know, it's the thing about it is then of course there's over the top, which is anything like, you know, Amazon Prime, Roku boxes, and so forth.
Okay.
But connected TV is that we're having a lot of success with that right now because that really is highly cost effective and it targets customers very precisely. And you can buy in areas. You don't have to buy in like massive lots.
So that's that seems like a lot of analytical data
Yeah.
and a lot of things you have to look at, a lot of databases. How do you go about, and we're not giving the secret sauce away, but how do you go about looking at that and knowing what's important for a brand when you look at all this information?
By going through a very precise process.
Okay.
And a framework to get there. If you know the information up front, and if you can itemize what that information is, you're going to be highly successful in the end. But if you're just going in just to buy for the sake of buying, it's not going to work.
Awesome. Yeah, that's news to my ears. Because you never really pay attention when you looking at these apps on the bottom of the screen, and you can actually download it. You're not thinking about how can I get placement on there, you know?
Yeah, right.
And that never really crossed my mind, which is important. And I even look at it during the Super Bowl. There was this brand. I forgot the name of the brand, but they did all they did was a little QR code, and it was it popped on the screen and just was bouncing around, and that's it. And just that simplicity, you know, made people want to pick up their phone and say, "What is this? What's going on?"
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they got a lot of buys, a lot of eyes, or just a lot of awareness in general off of that. And I think it was an NFT or something like that.
Sure.
And I look at that as kind of like maybe connected TV. You know, they did it in a way to where, you know, I'm not going to say go follow this this app or go download this app.
Sure.
I'm going to put it right in front of your face, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's looking at the futuristic and being innovative.
So connected TV is a little different than that.
Okay.
But it still falls within that smart TV platform.
Okay.
And it's the idea is that connected TV is the future. And that's why so many companies are, you know, like for example, the news, there's, you know, have all these streaming apps now, right? They know that eventually, in order to save their business, is they have to get off of the cable systems because eventually cable systems are no longer going to exist. Is the Spectrums, you know, Spectrum has Spectrum streaming now. So that's how you buy into connected TV, is through the streaming services.
Awesome. So that's a way to be innovative, and you're staying on top of, you know, what's current as an advertising company.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing. So people that listen to Blue Sea, listen to this man, because he understands the importance of, you know, innovativeness and staying current and staying relevant. So these are a couple of books that Blue Sea has created of your work and things that you actually provide in your guys' services, which is very great.
Yeah, so this kind of came as an afterthought, as like that every year is we do so much work for clients, but how do we showcase it? Is we show them in decks and so forth, and you know, through our website and everything of that sort. But these are just hardbound books that we just have a little fun with, and we complete them to kind of highlight some of the work, the successes, and how clients have been successful using us. So
awesome, that's awesome.
So we traditionally get clients two ways: is ones that have known about us in the past, or clients that have worked with other agencies and just didn't get the service they needed, didn't get the creative, didn't get the thinking they needed, and then they come to us. So
awesome. So where do you so because we're going down this
rabbit
path,
hole?
this path that
mind if I have a drink of your delicious?
Please enjoy.
This is really good.
Enjoy. Oh yes, most definitely. You know, because I knew you were coming on, you know, it was only right to bring out the Kalos Kaleidoscope of vodka, the various different colors of vodka, which will be releasing not soon.
Is this going to be the Blue Sea version?
Oh, why not?
There you go. I love it. Yeah.
I like that.
There you go.
I like that.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's the Blue Sea. You know, and
we need to make a Blue Sea vodka drink. That'd be fun.
That'd be awesome. You can have that in the office when people come in. They can get the Blue Sea. Hey,
that's what I'm talking about.
Let's talk about that.
There you go.
Let's talk about that. But I like this because it's I believe it's very important for marketing and branding and advertising. And you know, you have done a lot of things outside and inside marketing, but one of the I guess important things is, how did you get to this point and to be able to do this? So how did you even start this company? How did you even come about, you know, this advertising company? I know that you started from your mom, and your mom was in, you know, in this type of world, but how did you say, you know what, I'm going to start this Blue Sea company? I know you have Excuse me. Go ahead.
Sure. No. Go ahead.
I was
Keep
gonna
going.
say,
Keep going.
I know you had. I know you have a. There's another co-founder.
Yeah, Jeff
and
Bentley.
Jeff Bentley, and then I know you guys. I don't know how that came about, but
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. So I worked at a very large agency and ran sports marketing for quite some time, and then that agency had a lot of conflicts between the owners. Went out of business. I went to go work with a design agency, and then from that design agency, that's where I met Jeff Bentley, and there was limitations in this particular design agency of what we can do and what kind of clients we can go after and so forth. And so we decided to go out on our own. Our first client was Absolut Vodka. Our second client was Fremont Street Experience in Las Vegas, which was 13 casinos. So we had a great time there. So it was like alcoholics and gamblers. That was the whole going joke. And from there is we would pick up clients. Clients would come to us, and we'd help them with their marketing and branding services. And so through the years is that we've gone from different industries. We haven't stayed core to any particular industry, because as soon as we start to pay core to it, then another company in another industry. So hence these books is that we're very, very well versed into automotive, transportation, commercial, residential, properties, food and beverage, technology, B2B, including consumer goods too. And so we have experience in all different sectors to support whatever clients come across the way. The big one comes up, it's like, hey, do you have any electric transportation experience? Well, you know what? It's kind of funny you should ask, is we have over 14 years of electric transportation. Even before the concept of electric transportation, we were working in that space. So
got it.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. And you're in the electric, from electric to casinos to spirits to beverage. Do you have a favorite that you like to actually work in or kind of maneuver in industry?
You know what? It's really interesting is that I believe the people make the culture of a brand. The brand doesn't make the culture. And if you have a really great culture in a brand and a progressive thought process and thinking, then I'm attracted to that. You can be the greatest brand or the greatest category in the world, but if it's not connecting with you, if the culture's not there, if it's really not working, you're going to get disappointed. But then again, I really like brands that are thinking outside the box or letting us think outside the box too. One of the ones I'm particularly fond of right now is we just finished a campaign for Maxxis tires. And the honor of doing this is so exciting because this campaign actually saves lives. It doesn't sell tires. And so, and these are like once in a lifetime opportunities to do stuff like this. And so basically what it was is they came to us and they said, well, we want to do something very targeted towards distracted driving. And it's like, we all do it. We all grab our phone when we're driving. We shouldn't be doing it the whole thing.
Sure.
So the idea came up is that we're going to take this one guy that has an organization that is communicating about distracted driving and digital wellness. And we're going to get him to go through 25 states, I think it was, and to visit 21 of the Maxxis Tires ambassadors and personalities and media, people that are connected with the brand. And he's going to interview them. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create content buckets that can be pushed out every 2 weeks. So we got 21, so we actually have 44 weeks of content based upon this idea of communicating about distracted driving, communicating about digital wellness, and really the depth of social media and how much it really takes away. The funny thing, the whole thing is that the comment came up and the research came up is by looking at social media, you will spend 5 years of your life on social media.
Wow.
It's like, you know what? Take those 5 years and go outside, spend it with loved ones. Go, and it's like, I know, social media is a necessary evil, but how do you go? How do you, So
Yes,
I mean,
sure.
it was just one of those campaigns that just really resonated with me. My younger son was actually hit many years ago by a distracted driver.
Oh, wow.
She was on her phone texting. She made a left turn right in front of him. He was on a motorcycle. He crashed the motorcycle underneath the car. Motorcycle caught on fire. He flew 20 feet ahead, and he was doing about 50. He's
okay?
fine. He's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
But he shouldn't have been fine.
Yeah,
he should not have been fine.
For sure, that's a traumatic experience.
So, being able, going back to your question, what kind of clients, what kind of sectors, what really is like, it's the next one. It's the ones that really want to do great. And the thing about it is nowadays is that you need two things: is you need a great big idea, and you need consistency in delivering that message out there.
Most definitely. No, most definitely. And I think that's, you hit the nail on the head, consistency, as well as having a mission, having a focus. And I think that's very important. And with that, I mean, I'm sorry to hear that about your son, but that brings up another good point in far as distinguished gentlemen. So in regards to distinguished gentlemen, which is a biking, I wouldn't say it's necessarily.
I'm going to go and pull these down and give you a little view.
Thank you. It doesn't necessarily do with just biking. It has to do with more than just biking. But biking is kind of more of the thing that bring everyone together in a fun way.
Yeah.
But with this, please speak to us about distinguished gentlemen and how that plays a big part in your life and in your organization.
So Blue Sea's been involved with this event for the last 10 years. Actually, 9 years. First year was we weren't involved in it, and it didn't exist in Orange County. So this is a motorcycle ride in 370 locations worldwide on the same day. The benefit of this is to raise funds for men's male prostate cancer research and men's mental health. And this really attracted me to the whole idea is, so when we started it was 7 of us. Okay. We started with 7. We did the ride. It was just a round thing. It started in Newport, ended at Newport, and it was 7. And last year we had 400. And so it's something that grows. And so, and it's not just men, it's also women too. Discovery Channel came out last year and filmed our whole event for Discovery Channel. It's been airing ever since. And so basically what it is the men and women dress in their best Sunday best, and they ride their motorcycles from point A to point B. We always try to create a really unique ride, something that's unique so they remember it. This upcoming year is by far the best course ever. I call it 4 points because you have the mountains, you have the roadways, you've got the beaches, and you've got the city. And so it's like you're getting to a mix of everything. So it's called 4 points this year. But it's the idea of getting together with your friends and doing something for a better good.
Okay.
A lot in what Blue Sea does is that we tie into a big idea. We always try to have a charity element or a philanthropic element of it. And we keep things flowing for the content and utilize that content for the long haul on it.
Awesome.
And that's ultimately why in Blue Sea 5 years ago is we started our own in-house content development agency, which is called Blue Sea United. So that's the content side.
And that's so the ability to be able to with content like reels and shorts and things of that nature.
Absolutely, yeah.
So when you go into that, was that something that kind of gleaned out of this, of working with distinguished gentlemen, or is that something that you always had a foresight to want to do?
With Monster Energy we would go to North Africa and film twice a year, and we'd create a series of shorts and series of content launches for Monster Energy and Mini. That was their whole program for several years, and we did a lot of work in that. And then, prior to that, it was, how do you make a TV commercial on it?
Okay.
And so we did TV commercials. So it's progressed, and then people needed video, and people needed those videos cut up in several different ways, and they needed different mediums. That's how it's going to be used, and how it's going to be distributed, and why it gets distributed different ways. So, yeah.
That's big. Cheers to that.
Oh, cheers.
For sure.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Cheers. So that's a lot of great.
The interesting thing about your vodka is that I grew up in a Canadian family, and vodka was pretty much the alcohol spirit of choice with my father and his friends and so forth. And they used to drink Smirnoff vodka. Do you remember Smirnoff vodka? And as a small kid, you'd always want the coolness of tasting it, but then you taste it, you're about ready to choke. It's almost like, okay, it's gasoline. And I was always wondering, it's like, why would someone buy this? And they bought it because of the brand and how people were perceived on it. Nowadays is that brands have to be 100% acceptable, and they can't lay on their laurels because there's so much competition in the marketplace. So my point is that your vodka is smooth. It's almost like a good tequila. I mean, everyone's got a bad tequila story.
Yeah,
I've got like 10 of them, but a smooth tequila is where it's at. Your vodka is very smooth too. So
thank you.
Kudos to that.
Smooth.
I also like these cups. You're probably going to lose these. I'm going to take them home with me. It's like,
I'm going to have to throw these back in the back of the bar once we're done.
You're going to have to put a tile on it so you can track them.
All right.
Yeah, it's really smooth though.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's we hang our hat on that, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Being one of the smoothest vodkas on the shelf, at the price point that we're at, you have what's considered smooth vodkas at a high price point. Then you have your mid tier, and you have like kind of the lower tier. And I say we're right in the middle, and we're right in the middle at a high tier taste.
Sure.
So that's so we really hang our hat on just taste it. Taste it smooth. Kalos means beautiful in Greek, so it's a beautiful, smooth taste. All that we play a part in all that because that's what we're really about, and that's why we don't necessarily sell the colors yet. It's just the clear, so people understand that this is smooth vodka. So I do appreciate that.
Which is that's actually the best way to do it is start with your core brand, build your core brand, get people to understand what your core brand is. Then it gets to an avenue and a time where you can actually start to create extensions on it. But yeah, it's true.
Oh, definitely. So I'm going to break this up a little bit. We're going to go into a game.
Uh-oh.
And this game is a trivia. It's called Kalos. Actually, I call it Cocktail.
So if I win, do I get to take all these home?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Shoot. Well, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's if you win. So now I got to change the questions up there. If that's the case.
Yeah, there we go. It's the questions you can't answer.
Right. Yeah. No, these are easy questions. This is called Cocktail Tell All.
Okay.
Segment, which is basically a trivia. So where I ask a couple of questions, 5 to 6 questions, and then you just have to say the answer right away. So when I say the question, you just say the answer.
Okay.
If you don't say the answer right away, you have to take a drink of the cocktail.
Okay, there you go.
All right. So Cocktail Tell All trivia. All right.
Perfect.
So with that, I got the first question for you. You like bands?
I love bands. 80s music is my specialty.
Oh, I might gotta change this question then.
No, I'm not into bands. No.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
no.
Okay. So this is a rock band.
Yeah.
Name one rock band beginning with the letter K.
Kinks.
Ooh.
There you go.
Okay.
Cool in the
Take a
game.
drink. Okay.
That's 2 drinks.
Nah, it'll take you a while. It'll take you a while to get that second one.
Well, I just wanted to give you a little time to get that first drink down,
Okay. I see. I like the competitiveness. All right.
Yeah.
All right. A musical instrument that begins with T.
Trumpet.
Ooh, see, it's
Do you want me to call Uber for you right now?
Hey, I'm gonna need one.
There you go.
Something you would find in the kitchen with a K. Oh, drink.
Cup. A cup. It's like,
yeah. That's you. That's drink. Well, that's all you.
kitchen with a K. What would that be?
It'll be a knife.
Oh,
So
hello.
A knife.
Okay.
So that's you. Okay.
Shows how much I cook in my family. My wife's an amazing chef, so it's like.
So she does all the cooking.
Oh, yeah.
That's.
We're gonna have to have you over for dinner one night.
Yeah, please.
She's an amazing chef. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I bring my wife. I just had a little one, by the way.
Nice.
But I love to bring my wife and come over. And,
Perfect. She's Puerto Rican, so it's all Puerto Rican food. So I hope you like Puerto Rican food.
My wife's Latina, so.
Oh yeah, is she?
Yeah. So
Where's her roots from?
So she's from her grandparents are from Guadalajara, and she's gonna kill me if I mess this up. And it started with an M.
Yeah.
In Mexico. I can't remember the name, but it's but they're
I love Mexico.
Yeah.
I just I'm just a huge fan of Mexico. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, she's because her mom is from her mom's side is from Guadalajara, and then her dad's side is from I want to say it starts with
Madeira?
an M. Not Madeira. I want to say Macau, but I know it's not Macau. That's Puerto Rico. It started with an M. I can't remember.
I think you have to take another drink now.
Yeah.
There you go.
Take another drink for you, babe. Another drink for you, babe.
There you go.
For sure. All right. So yeah, I would love that though, by the way.
So is she the cook in the family, or are you the cook in the family?
She we both, but she mainly cooks.
Yeah.
But I dibble dabble.
You bring the vodka, right?
I bring the
there you
vodka.
go.
That's what I do. I bring the cocktails, to Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever we
There
got
you go.
going on. Always bringing the alcohol and making cocktails. Hey, taste this. How you
Yeah.
about this?
Guess what Dee's bringing again?
Kalos.
Kalos.
So another question. A politician beginning with J.
Jackson.
Jackson who? Jackson what?
Oh.
Drake.
I mean, I'd say
Drake. So Jesse James. Jesse James.
he's not a politician.
He is a politician. He's Wisconsin Senate, so he's a member of the Wisconsin Senate.
Okay, cool.
This is and then you have William J. Clinton, which is but his
right.
middle name is Clinton.
I thought you were talking Jesse James from West Coast Choppers.
Oh no, not Jesse James.
I got a great story.
No.
It's like I've been racing the Baja 1000. I'm a second generation racer on it, and it basically it's a 30-hour trip from Ensenada down to Cabo San Lucas. So we get halfway there. I get out of the truck, and we stop at this one pit stop, and we're going to be there for 8 hours before our race truck comes through. And there's an RV there, and this lady opens this RV up, and she's got these three little poodles walking out of it. Sandra Bullock.
Really?
So we started a fire there, and I'm sitting talking to Sandra Bullock for like 6 hours. She's waiting for her ex-husband Jesse James to come through and so forth. Coolest girl ever. She's just so. I mean, just
what are the
solid.
odds?
What are the odds?
What are the odds of that? That's awesome.
So that's my Jesse James story. So
you got talking for 6 hours. I'm pretty sure that was a very interesting conversation.
She's just an amazing person.
For sure. That's awesome. That's awesome. Were you able to keep contact with her ever since, or are you kind of?
You know what? It's you have to be respectful.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
You got to cherish those moments.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
If they, I agree with you with that for sure.
But if she calls me and says, "Hey, can you take my poodles for a walk?" Sure, I'll be right there.
Yeah, take all three.
Yeah.
So we have another one. A comic beginning with S.
Sinbad.
Sinbad? Which one is that? Oh, Sinbad. Okay.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's one.
With an S. What's another one?
Which another one? This is another one for shits and giggles.
Oh, who's the one that screams Sam? What is it, Sam?
Sam?
He just has this yelling, screaming skit, which is totally obnoxious. But gosh, who's another S?
Like a comic book, like something like that.
Oh, comic book, not a comic.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought you were
book,
talking a comic, kind of going like improv, and
That's why I go ahead and let you have.
So I think you just need to have another drink now.
I took but like a comic book, so to speak.
Comic book. Oh, jeez.
I'll let you.
Shazam.
Shazam, okay.
Yeah, you gonna give me that one?
Shazam. I mean, is that more of a comic, more like a Disney type thing?
No, that was a comic book.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Shazam.
Shazam.
I'm thinking like Spider-Man. I'm thinking Marvel.
Oh, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
That's
I'm thinking like Marvel type stuff.
See, it's interesting because when I grew up, I was really not into the comic book. Like all my like neighbor kids and stuff, they were into the comic books. I wasn't really into it.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm the same here. I was like, I mean, it was nice. Like, of course, you got the Hulk, Incredible Hulk, the Spider-Mans, and Iron Man. You got all the basic ones that we all know and aware of. But yeah, I never really was the big. I'm gonna buy 100 comics. I'm gonna find these, the golden ticket in these, and keep going. Never been my forte. But I always been into art though. I loved art. Perfect. I collect like cost pieces and things of that nature. So that have always been my thing.
Are you into Banksy?
Yes, Banksy.
So there's the Orange County exhibit. I think it's just opening up. I saw the LA one about a year ago, and it was awesome. It's
really?
Definitely done
When
well.
is it? When is it supposed to be opening?
I think it's open now. I keep on seeing it on social. I just haven't gone down to the point of actually going to it or buying the tickets, but highly recommend it.
Oh yeah, I'm going to that for sure because I didn't even know that was going on down there. Yeah, Banksy, Jeff Koons, Cause, all these guys. I love that pop culture,
Did you ever see that movie Exit the Gift Shop?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I haven't.
That's kind of the whole street art story. I think it's actually on just straight YouTube now. It's done well.
Okay.
it tells you about the history and how everything is connected in one way or another, which I think personal relationships are the same way, is that people are connected in one way or another and are wired that way to be a part of that way. Just kind of like how you and I met. We had 2 years ago. I get this text from you out of the blue, and it's like, well, great. I'm glad things are still going good. Couldn't wait to be on the show. It's so love it.
I know, right? And it's crazy because how we got introduced was through another gentleman.
Who did we get introduced by?
DR. Remember DR?
Right.
DR. So he entered. So it was like something that he wanted to talk to you about something, and then he was like, "Man, this guy'd be awesome to speak." And that's kind of how we got connected.
Yeah.
And then, but from there we hit it off from there. And you like the brand, you like what I was doing. I just like your personality and just who you were and stood for. And come to find out that all this was behind you as far as just who you were, as far as the philanthropic work you do and the individual you are, have relationships with that believe the same way you do, and that's what really drew me to you even more. I was like, man, I got to have this gentleman on my show.
Okay, I got to take a drink now because you're...
So me too. So that was...
So next question.
That was huge. So the next question is not really a question. I'll more say it's more of just a thought.
Yeah.
What do you think of? Well, actually, I would say this is the question. What do you think about the Harmon brothers? I know the Harmon brothers. There's individuals who like make skits. So like purple.
Yeah. Sure. Right.
So I know they do advertising, marketing, and things of that nature. But I noticed they kind of have a formula or system that they utilize, and I thought it was very interesting how they go about. They use things that are very synonymous with everyone, so like Disney, comics, they utilize the fairy tale images. So what do you think about them as far as, how does that play, or do you think that's great marketing, so to speak, or do you think that's something that's timeless, or like what would you say about something like
well, it's interesting is that marketing has changed, the world has changed. And I look at people like Ryan Reynolds and how he's been able to take his acting career and integrate it into being marketing. He owns several companies that are media delivery systems on it, and that's a big thing. One of our clients has us bringing influencers to different trade shows.
Okay.
And so what we do is we pay the influencer to go to the trade show, we do the hotel, we have a night where we take them out and so forth. And then what we do is they provide content based upon what they saw at the show, based upon whatever this thing is. And those people are more influential than traditional advertising nowadays. And because what happens is they have their pockets. And it's interesting because there's one girl that we brought, and her name was Shelby Church, and I've kind of followed her social. She's very transparent in what she does and how much she makes on YouTube and brand activations and brand communications within her videos and so forth. And she really has been able to build a business from it. And I see people like the Vlog Brothers, which they own. Basically it's the video VidCom, and so they did skits. They did YouTube skits. Then they started VidCom, and now they're the mecca of how this whole world communicates on it, and that's important. And it even goes back to my Maxxis Tire story, where we took 21 ambassadors and personalities, and we had them sit down and tell their story of why distracted driving is so highly dangerous. And so by doing skits, by doing different things and communicating, integrating brands, is that the true reality is that, like it or not, that's where things are at. That's where the future's at.
No, definitely. Not just, and eventually, the world, society looks at it that way. So it's like you have to kind of move toward the way the consumer is looking at things. And it's funny because influencers and people who are tastemakers and change makers in their industry, and they end up implementing something by accident or that they necessarily don't want to implement. It was a guy by the name of Dame Dash, which is he started with Jay-Z and they
Sure.
were like Rock Nation. He said,
Right.
man, he said, I started bottle service. He
Right.
said there was no such thing as bottle service until I started it.
Uh-huh.
And then he said, but now I wish I would have never did it because now it was more of to be in VIP in the
Right.
club was something that was for the elitists. It was something that, you couldn't pay for. It
Exactly.
was because of who you were. But when he started it and he just started bringing bottles to his section and started spending all his money, clubs and club owners realized, we can make way more money than just keeping an elite thing. Elite thing meaning how much money you can spend.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, man, I hate that I did that because now it's like bottle service. It's not about the cool people anymore. It's just about who just can spend the most money.
Right.
So it's like the Vlog Brothers and things
Yeah.
of that nature. It's amazing to me how individuals can start something and it catches on, whether if it's for good or bad,
Mm-hmm.
but how the consumer views it and how everyone else have to kind of tailor their way toward that and do that in order to gain some market share.
Sure.
So that's
Or
very
just share of voice too. It's like it's market share is basically based upon sales or how much you're going to create an impact within a market on it. Is getting people that have an audience and getting them to say, oh my God, this is the best vodka ever is one thing. Getting them to say it over and over, always talk about consistency, consistency in your marketing, consistency. And just when you're sick and tired of hearing consistency, things start clicking. So very important, but it's the idea is that by creating consistent messages with influencers or ambassadors is the way to go. A lot of brands said, hey, let's just go and get these 12 people and let's just do it, pay them, and that's it. I disagree with that. I'd rather work with micro-influencers and create, it's kind of what we do with, all of our beverage brands. It's like, hey, we have people that believe in the brand and they're a part of the family. Very important.
No, most definitely. Micro-influence is the way to go, I say
Yeah.
too. Yeah, no, most definitely. I mean, because you may have a mega influencer, but you pay, whatever that fee is, and you do that, and that's only for that one time or for a couple of times, and they're not really invested in the brand. But you may
They're invested in your pocketbook.
Exactly, but you may get, just for that one, you can maybe have 15 or 20 or even 100, micro influencers. Like you were saying, consistency, doing the same thing over and over again, posting it all these different times, and now you're working with something that's a little bit more different. And I think it's, I guess, as even being an owner of a spirits brand, it's even hard for me, right, to look at that and kind of see, because we always, when you're looking at it, I just want to go with the gusto. I want to go with, where this can get to the most people the quickest. But it's very important, to look at, over time and the consistency and the growth. How do you go about doing that? I mean, is there something that you just pick up the phone or send an email, or is it you kind of scope out the premise of, okay, this person makes sense for this brand? How do you do that?
The formula varies from brand to brand, and kind of goes back to, at the end of the day, is what is your objectives? What is your objective?
Okay.
At the end of the day, is what is your objective and who do you want to sell it to? Then you can break that apart and you can implement it accordingly on it. And it's got to be the point of that person connects with the brand too. If that person doesn't relatively connect with the brand and it's just a paid thing to get your voice out there, then you're just paying to get your voice out there. And I see a big brand switch where a lot of brands used to pay $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 for so-and-so to do X amount of posts. Those days are over.
No,
It's
not organic.
It's not organic, and so what's happening now is those people need to pivot, and so what they'll do is they will work with brands and do their own special line with brands, and then they use that brand's distribution system and et cetera, and they make that cut of whatever it is.
Most definitely.
But it's long-term commitment on the marketing on it. And it used to be, it's like that, okay, well, we're just going to go and push it through social. Oh, no, that's you got to have a photo shoot. You have to have a video shoot. You have to content shoot. You have to have cut-ups. You have to have, how do you get them to go from, a consumer to go from here to here to really embrace that? And then the job's not done there. that consumer has to be the person that refers all of their people to say, hey, this vodka is the absolute best. So you always want to kind of think about the whole system and stay in touch with that system too.
Yes. And that's why it's best.
It's hard. It's hard.
It is. But when you have experts like yourself, that's why it pays to pay sometimes.
Yeah. But it's also, it pays to create a consistency. Is one of our clients used to be Seagram's America. They used to be in Ventura. It was a great client. Then they moved out to Texas, and so they were geographically undesirable. But we worked with all their brands. It was a whole different era. Nowadays is those eras like, wow, it's a lot easier, but it's a lot harder. You have to keep on it. You got to keep on getting that message out there.
Oh, definitely.
But you also need to define and have clarity of what your message is.
No, you're right. You're right. And I think it's kind of like annoying, so to speak. You have to be annoying. That's what Diddy said. He said best marketing is annoying. If I'm not annoying,
and he's the king.
I'm not marketing.
He's the king. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
It is. I don't know if those times has changed, but I would say consistency more than being annoying. But I think it's knowing how to, I guess, your why, your purpose, and knowing what it is that you're actually going for, to know what consistency look like. Because you can do the same thing over and over again, like they say, do the same thing over and over again, expect different results. It's insanity. You could be doing the same thing consistently, or you could say, I'm being consistent in the mission, or in the purpose, or in the cause, or in whatever it is that person is doing.
Right.
So hats off to you to be able to visualize that and see that, and being able to create the culture in organizations. I think that's very important. And in order to create a cause, a purpose, a culture, what it is. What I see is maybe totally different than what you see or the next person see, but I feel, for me, creating a culture in a company is really knowing your values, in your duty, whatever that is, honor, respect, integrity, knowing your fundamental, grounds in order to build a culture in a company. If you're the owner of it, right? If you're the founder on it, do you say, is that's the same for you, or how do you go about building a culture within your?
The people make the culture. The company doesn't make the culture.
Okay.
It's really every aspect of it, because within an organization, you're going to have people that do things a certain way, tell the story a certain way, be the brand a certain way, and they're going to make the culture if they're the ones that are pushing the culture out. I've had like amazing mentors in my life, like Wing Lam from Wahoos, amazing. Joe Parsons from Monster Energy, amazing. Their thinking and their thought process. I mean, they can lead presentations to thousands of people to get them to see the light the way they do, because their thinking is so unique. I'm lucky enough is that I just know the success of a $1 billion beverage company, or a 35-year-old legacy #1 top, freshly made Pacific-inspired restaurateur thinks and how he communicates. But you take those same strategies and you execute accordingly on it.
Got it.
And you take care of your customers.
Well,
if you don't take care of your customers, they're someone else's customer.
Yes, for sure. No, most definitely.
Yeah.
No, without a doubt. And being able to do that. I mean, it takes a team. It takes a team. No one can do it by themselves.
It takes a
village.
And it's interesting because 10 years ago, it used to be it takes a team. Now, with everything going on, it takes a village.
Most definitely. Which leads me to some books that actually goes into that.
Perfect.
Which is basically the teams and village and tribes. I like to say tribe.
Yeah, so do
I like to use the word the tribe because it's a tribe. It has this connotation on it as far as it means. A tribe means specific culture or ethnicity. No, a tribe just meaning people that believe in your mission, believe in the same goal, the same mission, the same purpose. And there's a book called Tribes by Seth Godin.
Seth Godin, yeah.
Yeah, Godin, excuse me. Yes, that guy, that's a great book. Then you have, of course, the Blue Ocean Strategy.
Yeah.
Then you have Contagious, and you have these other books that
Which Blue Ocean strategy I'm very passionate about. And that it's interesting you bring that up, is that is the cornerstone of why Blue Sea exists. With the Blue Ocean strategy is that, and I tell this story over and over to our clients, is you have this ocean here and you have this ocean here. You have all your competitors in this ocean here because you're basically saying the same thing. You're competing for the same market, you're telling the same story, you got the same products, you got the same executions. There's nothing that is indifferent. What happens in a case like that is there's blood in the water because you're fighting for market share, right? So what happens is from start to finish is you are just competing on what that is. Our job is to reposition your brand, put you over here into the blue water where there's no competition. When there's blue water it's a lot cleaner, and you don't have to fight for that business.
Most definitely. And it's just you. It's pretty much you doing it.
It's all you.
You're standing out.
Yeah. Well, it's even like on your vodka. Is like I look on your vodka. Is you've taken your product out of that mix. I mean, you play in the super premium space, right?
Yes.
Okay, so super premium. You've got some tough competition in that marketplace, right? But I mean, you go against the Cirocs. Who are some of your other competitors?
So I would say, so there's twofold to that. I say I don't have any competitors because I'm not competing with them. I'm doing my thing, you know.
But people are going to buy you or they'll go buy them. That's competitors.
Then if you look at it like that, 100%.
That's saying like the Super Bowl. We're not competing against each other. We're just having a game.
It's for the win.
It's
for the win.
Yeah.
But
it's for the Doritos.
And cheese.
And cheese, yeah.
But yeah, so I say my competitors are, I don't really look at the Cirocs, the Tito's. I don't look at those guys because you're talking about billion-dollar, companies and budgets and things. So I necessarily.
I mean, yours is not a billion-dollar company. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in the wrong. I'm in the wrong show. I'm sorry.
No, it's a billion-dollar company, but I look at it, but I take it in steps. So I look at it. Who's the local guys that are killing it and crushing it in the spirit space? And there's companies like Trust Me Vodka, which is in OC. Kind of going, not OC. They're in Carlsbad.
Carlsbad, yeah.
Then you have, different companies within the OC area that I look at those as more of my competitors than, the Cirocs and things of that nature. Of course, we're going to get there, but it's how do we have to take the stride because, those are dollar per dollar companies. If I go by per dollar with them, I'll be done 2 years ago.
Right. Right.
So, but it's like, but how instead
and you lose your wife, she'd be gone.
Right. Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
She's going to leave you the kitchen table. That's it.
That's it. You leave that for your workspace.
Right.
But so I look at it as Cirocs, Stoli Elite, Stoli Elite, those are pretty much kind of my competitors. And Tito's, of course, are my competitors. But as far as quality and taste, our quality and taste are better. I'm gonna say it's better than those.
Yeah, it's interesting because Tito's has that bite. It's not. I call it that Texas bite. It's just not. It's funny because like Kettle One is whenever I have Kettle One is I can totally see how it changes my personality per se. But if I have a non-charcoal filtered vodka, which I prefer, that is a different thing on it. Where Tito's is just too rough for me. It's just like, it's like, okay, I know it's handcrafted, but what does handcrafted really mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe someone put a bottle in a box. Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
but it's true. But they're a big brand.
Most definitely, they are.
Yeah.
They are, and they're moving millions of cases a year, and those guys. When you talk about dollar per dollar, those. Yeah, I would love to be at that level to where we're doing over 1 million cases a year. But it took Tito's 25 years to get to that point.
So they're overnight success in 25 years.
Yeah, the 25 years. Yeah, it took them a while to get there.
Sure.
The owner of that company, because it's based out of Texas,
Austin, right?
No one actually bought that brand, out in Texas. It was like a bottom shelf collecting dust type brand. And then, and like you were saying, consistency. The owner of that company was consistent. He was consistent. He was always, he did what he had to do and he met the right people.
Right.
And the right people, And it was in my previous episode. I was actually speaking with another founder of a spirits company. He's actually exiting his company. He actually talked about, that Tito's on, I think it was episode 3.
Yeah.
And he talked about how he actually had a relationship with a distributor, and the distributor was like, whatever we need to do to make this successable. So how many cases I need to buy a month to make sure you're successful? And that was kind of how
you're going. I need that. I need that content.
Like,
Can you give me that content? Yeah.
And that's kind of how Tito's.
Did you say it's like
about.
I'll bump you up to number 2 podcast if number 2 show if you
Right. It's that simple. But he had the system and he had the bottle. He had everything in place to take advantage of an opportunity like that. And I think that's where what's important too is being able to be at the right place, the right time, but also be prepared for it. And he was prepared, obviously, for that opportunity.
Well, it's like almost like the same as like Casa Amigos too. Is their whole thing is that we're backed by a celebrity, but what they used to do is they used to go to every bar possible and say, put this on the back bar and I'll pay you $100. So what's the bartender going to do?
Put it on the back
bar. Yep. Here's your $100 tip. Next. So that was the whole push. I was like, wow, that's really, that's a great sales strategy.
Yeah, it is, and it's so simple. It don't take a lot. It don't take a lot to do that. It take a budget to do, but it don't. It's like, okay, well, if you got the money to do it, it's just simple. Hey, we'll pay you to put this in here.
What's your biggest challenges?
The biggest challenge. So I would say there's 2. And one of the biggest challenges is be able to maneuver through this space with people not thinking that you're a Casamigos or a Ciroc budget-wise.
Right.
That's one challenge. So it's first speaking with people down to, okay, this is where we are in our business. And so that's one. The other is really the distribution. So it's to be able to, and not distributing, getting to locations, but it's distributing and being able to get to a right distributor to be able to push the brand in a way that that they believe in it, and they really want to see it succeed. Because like we were saying, the blue ocean, it's so many people in this water. How do we step out, of that? And that has been, one of the main, our main, I guess, hiccups or binding points is how to find the right distributor, because us being a wholesaler, that allowed us to be able to build our brand in a consistent basis and be able to do business with directly with our vendors. But I know to take it to that next level, we have to get a distributor in place who can really expand it, in a way, but it's having trust in that distributor that they're going to do that. Because one of the biggest things is being a spirits company, we don't work for the distributor. Distributor technically is supposed to work for the spirits company, but there's so many brands out there, it kind of flip-flops. So how do you get rid of that? It's by having trust or having a distributor who really believes in your brand.
See, that's interesting because when we owned the wine company, Baja United, is we were the importer and we were able to sell on a direct-to-consumer model. And that was interesting, but we couldn't go to a restaurant and sell. We can get the restaurant pumped up, and then we'd call the salesperson from the distributor. They'd come in, they would talk to the people. They may sell them on something else, or they may or may not, or it might be a different kind of conversation. So that was the gap in the sales system, which on yours is you can actually go there and you can actually write the order right on the spot, which is nice.
Right on the spot. So I can have a conversation. I can go to a restaurant just to eat because let's go here. Let's take the family out. And then I end up speaking with the owner or the GM there, and they say, "Oh, you own a vodka company? Oh, is it?" And then we talk about it. He really likes, the brand and what's behind the brand. He's like, let's do a case. And if I got a case in the trunk, I can fill out that person's order right there and sell it to him. Yeah. And, and it's that quick. And that's the ability to have a wholesale license that I'm able to do that. But it's great to be able to do that, but it's also knowing, I want to take, because there are a lot of people that start spirits companies like, I just want to be in a couple of retailers, a couple locations.
Just to tell my friends that I own,
that's it. We're playing the long game. We want to be everywhere. We want to be in all locations in OC and Los Angeles. We're looking to build this we want this to be the next, vodka that people go to.
Are you strictly focusing on off-premise, or are you focused on on-premise too?
On both, but majority is on premise. So I have had a lot of more success on off premise with the retailer, but as far as on premise with the restaurants, there has been it's a tough battle because the restaurants are it's way different than off premise. But I have noticed that being on premise allow people to taste it, see it, actually, indulge in a cocktail without having to spend, for the whole bottle.
Right.
A lot of people, I know it's easy for me to sell a bottle at a retailer when I'm doing a demo than it is for someone else, unless they're a good saleswoman or man, But if they're not a good salesman and they're just going off of just the script, then it's hard, right? Because it's a new brand.
Right.
But when I'm there, it's easy for me to talk about, oh yeah, I'm a USC graduate, I'm a military veteran, I'm a this, I'm a that. We can actually have this dialogue and conversation. And a lot of them say, you know what, just because, let me grab a bottle and taste it. And then they taste it, and then I see them maybe 2-3 weeks later, they're like, man, that was some smooth vodka. Right. So but I can't be there, all the time. Yeah. So it's how do we build that, and how do we get that, whether if we have to make a video and have a video playing while the demo going, or how do we, close that gap at retailers is another, and I think that's an issue with a lot of, coming up spirit companies on because the owner has to be doing logistics, manufacturing, this and that, ordering, they don't have time to be at a retailer, but being at the retailer is important. Yeah. Because on average, just to have an idea of how it looks, which being in this space, that a restaurant only may buy 2-3 boxes, if you're lucky, 4, but a retailer is going to buy 12, 20, 30 cases at a time. Right. So that's where the big
but you need that restaurant, you need that on-premise to keep people pumped for the off-premise buys.
Exactly. And then hopefully your off-premise or on-premise is in close proximity. That's another thing. If they're not in close proximity, then if this is in LA, but then you're on off-premise in LA and on-premise in Orange County, well, they may not ever visit that store, or that restaurant. So how do you close the gap there? Sure. So it's a lot of that and being strategic. And that's kind of what I did when I first started. I only went to retailers that had an online base. So if they sold the bottles online, I went to those locations first, mom and pops. Yeah. And then from there, I kind of figured, okay, we need to get into like a main retailer, whether it's Bevmo, Total Wine or something, or a big commercial company like that people can say, okay, these guys are legit, Right. So we ended up getting into Total Wine a month ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is awesome.
Thank you. And they put us in 3 locations to start, and now we're building that out.
Did you go afterwards? Did you buy your bottles back from you?
So we're getting there.
No, let's not go there. No.
So we're getting there. So we're getting there we're actually going to go there and do the demos. So
perfect.
Next month we're doing demos at 2 of the locations. And hopefully at those demos with my director's teacher accounts, which he lives in LA, hopefully we can, sell all those bottles that next month.
See, that's interesting how the model has changed. It used to be is that you put the bottles in and you walk away. But now the new brands are responsible for actually selling through.
Yes, most definitely. It's totally but they have these programs called the store select program and these different type of programs that now it's one thing being in the store and it's another thing being on these programs. Yeah. Because now if you're in these programs and the retailers, now they will push your brand. Right. But that comes with a margin. That comes with all these other things you have to iron out to get on that. So now it's even so now it's more of like you got to get in the retailer to get into the retailer to get in the retailer. Now.
Well, that was our biggest challenge is that we were with the Young's Market, and so we got on. So basically, is that there's list, there's select, and there's goal. You first of all you have to get on the list. You have to get on the list so people can actually buy from you, and then select is basically is that. You can give bottles to the salespeople so they can try them. They're not forced to do it, but if you get goal, the salespeople at least have to sell X amount of cases. But what we found out is they're going to sell the cases, but the next month the on-premise is going to return the cases. And so it's just a very convoluted thing. They were forced to sell them, but it was a bro deal to get back in. It's like
So it's how do you
how do you beat the system?
How do you navigate through that? And there's companies out there like Bev Strout, which hopefully I have the founder of that company on here pretty soon.
Yeah.
They're based out of Kentucky, and basically they're all about the small guys, the guys that are coming up, in the industry, and not the big guys, because they understand the system, the distribution system is not for guys who are coming up or gals are coming up. It's for the big corporations, for the big companies. That's
have
what
volume movers. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what that system is for. So it's how do you navigate through that, and having the right people, right time, the consistency, and all that is a big part. But that's why today, with Kalos Kocktail Hour, this is another way, that Blue Sea, another way to kind of take it and put it into a different ocean, instead of having tastings and all this and trying to meet the founders or owners of this or that, how about we bring him here, we enjoy cocktails, and then we just can have a discussion and you see who's behind the brand, in a more organic way, organic way than me going to the store when I don't know your schedule, you may be busy, I don't know what's going on, so it's constantly figuring out the way, What
a brilliant idea you got on this. This is great. It's interesting because one of our first clients was Absolut Vodka, and we used to and it's like we didn't do the super sexy stuff. I'd love to say it. My parents would be like totally excited, but no, we didn't do the super sexy stuff. It was distributor promotions.
Yes,
it's getting distributors to do something, to make something happen, to get this. That's really what it was.
That's the most important.
Yeah.
That's the most important. And that's everybody want to see the sexy. Yeah. Everybody want to see the, the girls and this and bikini and this, but it's way more to it than that. That's the fun stuff. But to get to that point, there's a lot of stuff that had to happen before you see that.
Well, even our work for Coca Cola is we do a program called the Execution Championships. And the objective is to be a change, to make the change. So the Execution Champions is that they have 16 warehouses that compete against each other. And this is one particular distributor. And the objective is that they have to do these 6 things in order to be successful in all of their on-premise and primarily off-premise locations. And it's everything from stocking, product availability, pricing initiatives, POP initiatives. You have to do all this, and they're judged. And basically, we did it as a bracket, kind of like the Super Bowl, where it's like these teams play against each other. But the objective and I think even now we're going to get to that point where sales promotions, internal sales promotions, and incentive promotions are going to get companies and sales teams to meet their numbers.
Okay.
Versus the opposite was we kind of got away from it a lot. And that's the most important thing is that if the team makes the numbers, the company's successful. If the company's successful, the brand is successful. The brand is successful, the people they sell to are going to be successful. So it's that whole circle there that you really need to put things in perspective. But sales promotions, incentive programs, that's going to be the future.
Oh, definitely. That reminds me of it was a Netflix series called "Where's My Jet."
Oh yeah, the Pepsi one, right?
The Pepsi one. So that kind of reminded me.
It keeps on popping up on my thing. It's like, Eric, you got to watch this thing.
So that's funny. When you brought that up, it kind of instantly brought me to.
Did the guy ever get the jet?
No. So he never received the jet. But I mean, he lost the fight. I say he lost the fight, but he won the war. Yeah. And the war was they actually put a policy, a law in place that had his name on it and everything that because of his case. So he didn't get the jet, but he at least was able to put his name in the history books.
Yeah. So all the people out there that are saying, what is this about, is basically is that there was a commercial that said if you had a certain amount of Pepsi bottle caps to return, you win this jet. And this guy saw this commercial and he says, I'm going to win this jet. And he started doing all the math. He lived in his parents' house, I think.
Yes.
And he did all the math and he goes, if I get all this and I get this, and he figures it out, he's going to win the jet. And he did it. He actually did it. And he returned all the caps and they said, whoa, we were just joking. I mean, for a Netflix to actually do something like that, and Pepsi's a big monster.
Yes.
Is Pepsi going, Netflix, we're not going to support you anymore? Or, I mean, did it bring more positive or negative publicity to Pepsi? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, from, I mean, you saying you didn't get the jet, it's like, oh, I'm not going to get Pepsi today, then forget it. I'll take it off my list.
Yeah, true, very true. I mean, Pepsi is such a ginormous company that it may be a couple thousand maybe people say, I'm never going to buy Pepsi after that again. But they have so many other buyers that it's probably not going to.
Yeah, but it's like any kind of negative connotation at a company, it goes right up the chain right now. And, you know, I call those are business dollars. And, you know, we've seen them and we've been involved and we've, you know, clients have had them and it's like, this stalls the company. So this happens like, oh boy, you know, so.
Yeah, but if I was in an executive, you know, chain up in Pepsi, I would take this as, oh man, let's bring this back. Now let's do this again, but let's actually have it to where somebody can get a jet.
I mean,
you know?
the true reality is, what was the cost of the jet?
Yeah, I think it was like 32 at that time, 32 million or something like that, like around 32 million.
It's a rounding error. Buy the guy a jet. Just buy the guy a jet.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Or just have a conversation with the guy. It's like, you know, it's.
Well, they try to offer him. I don't think they disclosed a number, but it probably is about $1 million or so.
Yeah.
They try to offer him.
And what did he say?
He said no. He said I want the jet
because he was going to sell the jet as a used jet.
Well, he was going to use the jet as he was going to use it as like a I don't know, like some type of not Ferris wheel, but some type of market or something he was going to make out of the jet. So he was going to make like a park or something and have people be able to come in and ride the jet up and fly. Like he was going to do something crazy with it.
Wow.
So I don't think he should have got the jet because he was only 20-some years old and he had this grand idea with the jet. But I was like, where are you going to put the jet? Where's all this? And but luckily he had a very wealthy friend and that he met. And then
without a jet, without a $32 million
without a $32 million
jet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that man had $32 million, you know, but he didn't have a jet.
Yeah.
But but I think his friend, he was, you know, a businessman and being who he was more, you know, he was more of a more seasoned and more mature, and he understood that, you know, he looked at it like I knew where I was at that time and know like I wasn't taking no for an answer. If somebody was offering me something and it was mine, I was going to get it. So he kind of seen himself in him. Yeah. And so he helped him out. And so he actually wrote the check for him to be able to get the jet, which is $900-some thousand. They tallied it up, was $900-some thousand.
That's right. That was to buy all the cans,
that
right?
was to buy all the cans. But it said, how what happened was he saw a brochure at a store. Yeah. And the brochure said you can make up 10% per, basically it's 10% per cap that you can make up for what you don't have if you want to get a coat or the glasses or jacket. Well, he figured the math out. 10 cents for I think it was 7 million, caps, whatever, would mean I need about $800-some thousand or so.
So let me ask you this question: what's going to be that mega prize that you're going to offer?
Oh man, shoot.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, I haven't got there yet. I haven't thought about that. It have to be a spot on Kalos Kocktail Hour. This is
priceless.
This is priceless. That can take you very far, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's kind of the thing, and I think it's just for me it was the fight and the hunger that he had, and so I thought it was very interesting. Yeah. Very interesting. But man, Eric, I do appreciate you.
No, appreciate you, man. And I always want to say it's that distinguished gentleman's ride. Anyone that rides motorcycles is, if they go to gentlemansride.com, they can sign up, go for the Orange County ride. It's going to start in Costa Mesa and end in Costa Mesa. Go down to the beach area, PCH, going to go through the hills. I mean, it's just an amazing, it's about 40 miles. I think we're about 40 miles. So it's not like massive. But it's going to be a lot of fun.
No T-Rexes, no.
So we have people that ride scooters. Okay. We have people that side caps. We have motorcycles. We have Harleys. We have Triumphs. We have Indians. We have kind of everything. So it's a whole mix of kind of the
different
whole of everything.
Okay.
Yeah,
awesome.
But that's the fun about it. And you're giving for a great cause too.
Yes, for sure.
And it's a Sunday, and I think. I always say this, it's 370 locations worldwide on the same day. So
yeah, you can't beat that.
You can't beat that.
That's awesome. And it all started right here. Where did it start
It
originally?
actually started in Australia.
Okay, Australia.
So it's out of Australia.
Okay.
And then the Orange County one, because I live in Orange County, it was kind of like, okay, I want to ride with that. And so we started with 7 people and have grown year after year after year. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So are you kind of like the one that's spearheading the routes and everything here?
We have a team.
Okay.
That different people are assigned in the team to do what different things on it.
Okay.
And so, you know what? I try to coordinate the team and keep the circus moving along. So.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
And you're going to be a big sponsor of it this year, which is awesome.
Yes.
And
Appreciate the
for you
opportunity.
guys stepping up, and it's doing this multi-million-dollar sponsorship is like, thank you, man. Really. But no, you're going to be a part. All joking aside, it's like, okay, we're moving out of our house, we're moving to our car.
Right.
Okay.
We got to now.
But
move
the thought
to the back.
process of stepping in and being a part of it, men's mental health and men's prostate cancer awareness research is very important. So.
No, it is. It is very important. Mental health is
Whoa.
That right there in itself is something that kind of goes under the radar, but it's very important. It should be highlighted, because there's so many people, through the trials and tribulations and the things they go in life, they don't understand how important it is to have a therapist, or how important it is to have that outlet outside of your job to be able to talk to about your, whether if it's issue problems or just to get off your chest, whatever.
Yeah.
It's
funny because I belong to an organization, and the organization is really targeted towards advertising, marketing, and I had a call with the owner of it. This is back, I think I want to say in November, and he goes, "Eric, you should probably go see a therapist." And it's like, "Oh, great, thank you." I was like, "Wow." So
So I mean, that's great though. I mean, did you go?
No, of course
you didn't go?
No,
of course I'm not going to
no.
do that. But you probably have your own outlets, and you have your own things that you utilize to be able to get your points. But I mean, I don't go to a therapist, but I think for those who need one or who feel like they don't have other outlets, please,
talking is power.
And most definitely it is.
Power.
It is. Well, Eric, man, I appreciate you. And just before we get out of here, where can you find Blue Sea, and where can they go to potentially set up that first initial meeting for their business?
You know what is, if you go to blueseausa.com, that's BLUE, the letter CUSA.com. That's our agency website, and you can see our work and what our philosophy is and our focus on brand power and our complete framework there. And then for Gentleman's Ride, gentleman'sride.com. So.
Gentlemanride.com.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Gentlemen's. We've got to put an S.
Gentlemen's with an S.
We're not just going to have one person there. One person showing up.
Gentlemen's with an S.
Yeah.
So it's gentlemen's with an S.com.
Yes.
Okay. Gentlemen's with an S.com.
Yeah.
.com. Make sure you get that right.
We got to use you for the TV commercial. Gentlemen's S.com.
Yeah. Zoom.
Yeah.
But that's awesome, and I appreciate you for coming, man, and answering that call. You did that without
just
any hesitation.
Don't text me at 2 a.m. in the morning no more. It's like, what?
I wasn't at 2. Oh, come on. I'm not that bad.
No,
I know sometimes I'm bad, but I'm not that bad.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it. Well, that's it, folks. That's the Kalos Kocktail Hour with your main man, Eric
Morley.
You supposed to say main man,
Eric Morley.
All right.
Wait. I didn't get that part of the script. What am I supposed to do here?
No, you're supposed to just say that. I'm supposed to say your main man, Eric Morley.
Eric Morley.
Yeah.
Okay.
And your host, Dajuan Pulliam.
Oh, okay. See, you got. We have to practice this beforehand. You want to try it again?
All right. So that's it, folks. You're here. We're closing out with the main man,
Eric Morley,
and your host, Dajuan Pulliam.
We're good. There we go, man.
Appreciate you.
All right.
It's all good.
Love it.
I appreciate you. Well, that's it, folks. And without further ado, man, we're gonna enjoy this little bit of this last Kalos, Cape Cod, and we're gonna close it out. Thank you.
Cheers.